Welcome back to JOJ. It is August 21st.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think today's your mom and dad's anniversary.
That's right.
Our last recorded episode, it was our anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how many years it is for them. It's a lot.
Several
years of marriage for Mimi and Papa.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we decided
41,
to throw, instead of having go through our normal words, since August was our anniversary, we were just going to do a whole month on marriage and different just little topics of that.
Yeah.
And so today we're going to kind of talk about God's design for marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the Bible verse?
I put it here. Sorry. It's a little bit different translation, so
okay.
Just keep it the same.
So the Bible verse for today is Genesis 2:18. The Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone, and I will make a helper suitable for him." Mm-hmm. And we all know that, woman was created from man, from his rib, that, God intended, marriage to be man and wife, or man and woman, mm-hmm. and, I keep seeing this little thing that's down here, and it was like a wife is not her husband's clone, but complements him. Mm-hmm. I wholeheartedly believe that, God, he knew that I was going to marry Ott long before I knew I was going to marry Ott.
Yeah.
And vice versa, and that he specifically designed us mm-hmm. for each other. So, kind of where he may lack in something, I make up for, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And that's, big picture, easy simpleness of the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's, what his design was for us. And I don't know where you want me to go from that.
No, it was good. I was ready for
okay.
you. And I really like that it does talk about how we complement each other, because it is completely God's design for us, mm-hmm. and I agree completely that He knows the hairs of our heads. Mm-hmm. He knew who we were going to marry. He knows who our kids are going to marry. He knows what children they're going to have. He knows all those things in his all-knowing ability and everything that he has laid out, over the course of time. So that it gives me comfort, for one, to know that he knew that, and that mm-hmm. once we found each other and we knew that, we were going to get married, we knew that we were the right person for each other. Mm-hmm. And it's, the worldly saying of opposites attract. Mm-hmm. That I see some of that in stuff, but you see, I think you see in couples that I'm gonna call them successful in that they have a good working marriage. Mm-hmm. That mean everything's always perfect? No, but they have a good working marriage. You see that because where one person is weaker or something they struggle with, the other person excels in, and they're able to complement each other and kind of even those situations out. If that's emotions, if that's physical ability, if that's a spiritual lacking, mm-hmm. or whatever it may be. In a good marriage, you have that to where one person, that they have the strong back to carry mm-hmm. the load through this place where their spouse is unable to. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's also, with that, you always have somebody that is, you strive to do better at areas in your life, but if Ott's really good at this over here, and I know that I'm just terrible at it, I'm like, gosh, I need to probably do a little bit better, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, you just to not just be like, okay, well, he's good at that, so I'm just not even gonna attempt to mess with that. You know what I mean? Right. Like, you kind of can balance each other out on that.
Yeah. And that, from the situation that I look at, for me, growing up, speaking in front of people, two people, mm-hmm. whatever, was never okay with me. I grew into that. Mm-hmm. I had to learn how to do that, and grew into it, and to now to where I embrace it, and I enjoy the opportunity, especially when I get to speak in an event and share my testimony, mm-hmm. or what God's done in my life, or just share His word, and that even to do it in this setting, to where we're here with Jake and 2 cameras and that's it. That took a lot for Jennie to get used to, and that's still a place where that she's not the most comfortable, but I can understand that. I've been there, I've walked through that, but it's also a place where you've grown, and I don't know if you've pushed yourself. If it was anything I had done, or if it was just strictly if it was the Lord that had pushed you through that.
It was God. I'd ignore you.
Well, there you go. So
being honest, I'd be like, it's fine.
Yeah, but it's great to see how when one person does something, and I'm not saying I'm good at it, but just one person does something, and even if it's something that they do a lot of, that the other person's like, well, you know, maybe I should at least try this, or to see that God, our story, JOJ wouldn't be anything like it is if we weren't both in this together doing it. And and I think obviously in parenting, like, Lord, that's a whole subject there of because we both, like, and you don't realize this, like, you first get married, and I mean, unless you are coming into marriage with kids, or previous marriage and kids, but if you are just husband and wife and then you have kids, whether it's adoption or your own, or nothing prepares you, or like I mean, maybe people do this and we just didn't, but like, we didn't know how to parent somebody else. Right. Like, we're just, oh, hey, let's have a baby, and she's great, and we didn't really have to parent her until she's toddler of yes, no, don't touch stuff, but until you get in school and you have little incidents happen, or I mean, teenage years, or I don't even have words for teenage years right now, because that'll be a whole different tangent. But trying to help them be who they're designed to be, but also they have all of these pressures of the world. But then you have Ott, who comes from one parenting background. I come from a different parenting background. Pretty different, pretty polar opposite. Especially once you got to teenage years.
Yeah, and then us trying to come together to punish or walk through these situations, and like, we look at each other a lot and we're like, I don't know what to do. Like I wasn't really parented. As long as I was making good grades and didn't get in trouble, I was pretty much do whatever. To where Ott was 1 minute late, he was grounded for 2 weeks. I mean, just very much more of a strict household. So I'm obviously a little more lenient, and he's a little more, you're grounded for 2 weeks. So like, try and every kid is different. So I think a big part of of that, of God's design of putting us together, is also walking us through being parents as well. Of going back to complimenting each other. Man, that should have been the marriage advice on the first episode. is parents need to always come together first, and then deal with your kids. Because I mean, especially for me, and I think can say it's true. I've had to really learn to not lose my utter cool when a situation happens immediately, that I have to walk away, because I will lose my cool, and then it's really more of a show, and then he comes in afterwards and has no idea what's happened, and this one's crying, I'm crying, everybody's crying. And it's just like, I need to take a step back and be like, hey, this is what's going on, what do we do, rather than, because when he travels a lot, it's mom, so I tend to handle everything. Shocking, control freak. And then he comes home and has no idea what's going on. Or I'm mad at him because he's not as mad at any of the kids as I am. And he's like, well, what have they done? He's like, I don't know. So,
because and that's not, I know you intend good in that, but there's times when you don't, I may be gone and you don't tell me everything, because you're like, you're not here, there's nothing you can do about it.
I don't want him to have, I want his focus to be work and everything else
on what I'm doing. So you bear that burden alone, and that's the heavy, and can cause you to explode. So you know,
better.
but it is tough, but then it is hard for me to then come home and be like, then I get unloaded on, and I'm like, well, where was all this at? I didn't even know it. You know,
he was living in bliss.
I was just trying to catch a fish, you know. So it takes me a minute to get wound up to get to the part of where I sometimes need to be, you know, to understand that's, you know, to get some righteous anger flowing. But if I'm there in the situation,
righteous anger. He said that a couple times in the last 24
that.
hours.
I've used that lately. It seems pretty fitting, but you know, if I'm there in the situation, sometimes the immediate back end is what I have to keep from coming out. You know, Jennie's more with words. I'm more jerk the belt off, which was kind of the way I was as a kid as well. So a difference there, but
exactly.
But yeah.
So just in marriage, and you know, having your spouse, and you know, once you do, and if you do get into parenting, to always remember to approach them together, because you have to be a united front. We've learned the hard way. You can't be not united because they use it against you.
Yeah.
Every time.
Absolutely.
Anytime I try to be the lenient, okay, like I'm not going to tell Dad, and then they wrap me out. So there's that too. Yeah. Because they'll do something, get in trouble. Well, Mom. Thanks,
Mom said.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And I say thanks.
Yeah. So to present a united front.
Yeah.
Because they'll use it against you.
They absolutely will.
But yeah, so I think we could probably.
Yeah, I'd probably
wrap that up, and next week we'll get more into. I don't know what you want to call it. Oh, I guess this will kind of be the title. Yeah. Kind of how your marriage is a living testimony. So we'll wrap up this week.
Yeah.
And
so I'll read that verse again. But yeah, that's marriage of a man and a woman. That is absolutely God's design. That's what He designed it to be, and He knew that. You know, from the get-go. I mean, that was 100% what he designed marriage to be, and that's what glorifies Him, is to live that way. So the verse, Genesis 2:18. The Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." So that is God's design, and you know, to have a
give you a helper,
to have me a helper in the garden or wherever I need you. So yeah. Thank y'all, and we will see you again next week for the last Sunday in August.
Yeah.